Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to do something a little bit different and talk about an issue that I'm sure a lot of us gamers are having, especially if you are getting older like I am, and that is the video game backlog. Now if I were to make an actual backlog of everything I'm wanting to play, the list would be astronomically large. The thing about collecting video games and being a collector like myself is you inevitably get to this point where you just have so many games that you can probably never feasibly beat all of the games that you've ended up collecting. As you can see from my huge shelf of games in the back here, I don't even think I could probably compile all these games into a time to beat list and, put together a time frame where I could actually managed to complete each one of the games on the shelf there. It has gotten so astronomically large, and some people are even worse than I am. I mean, I have a decent sized shelf, but others are entire game rooms where it's like wall to wall video games, and obviously these people are never ever going to actually complete every game on the shelf. It's more for the actual collectability and maybe even the ability to just pop in one of those games if they do feel like playing it at some point down the road. But one thing that I really have been trying to do is complete my JRPG backlog for the PlayStation 1. I've been a PlayStation 1 collector for years. I mean, it's kind of funny, almost as many years as I've probably been alive now, I've been collecting games for my PlayStation 1. Even like way back, I remember in like 2012, even in middle school, I started collecting for the PlayStation 1. That was when, kids were buying Xbox 360s and stuff like that. And when everybody was getting hyped up about the new consoles, I was starting to feel really nostalgic for some of my old PlayStation 1 games. And I was buying up friends' like lots of PlayStation 1 games. And I was like, well, I'll give you like $30 for everything you have. I got some really good deals back then. And for them, it's like, oh, sweet, maybe I'll go buy a new Xbox game with that money. A lot of those games I ended up like selling later on down the road when I was running into some money issues as I got older. But nevertheless, long story short, I've been collecting for an extremely long time for that system. And one thing that I never really fully appreciated, especially in my younger years, because I was like super into the PS1 platformers and some more like the fighting games and even some more of the action games like Siphon Filter and Metal Gear Solid. I just liked games on the PS1 that were a little bit quicker paced versus the JRPGs. And it's super weird because I was always like the PlayStation 1 guy for everybody. But then I just thought it was so strange, and everybody thought it was so strange, and they're like, oh, well, you must have played this JRPG, right? You must have played Final Fantasy VII, Wild Arms, Final Fantasy IX, Parasite Eve. I mean, the list goes on and on. Chrono Cross. And I'd always be like, oh, no, I don't know. I'm not really into JRPGs. And it's like, why are you collecting for the PlayStation 1? So I finally have like kind of broken out of my shell the past couple of years. And I was like, I am going to play these JRPGs. I'm going to try my best to find a way where I can enjoy them and get into them. And the easiest way for me has been to use a guide, play through the game with it. I get lost in the old PS1 JRPGs a lot. I like when my hand is held in newer games. I know for a lot of people that's like blasphemy, but there's so many times in JRPGs, especially the older ones, where you get done with like a piece of dialogue or a little quest or something like that, and then you're just like in a town and the game just says, okay, go talk to people. And I think that's like one of the aspects I disliked the most about older JRPGs is it's just like, go talk and figure things out. And I'm like, I hate the feeling of being lost in games. It's the main reason why I guess like Metroidvanias don't necessarily work the best for me either, is the whole point is that you are lost and you're just trying to figure stuff out. Using a guide really helps curate that. It's just like, okay, rather than going to every single NPC in town and talking to them, here's a guy you got to talk to. So that's really the main reason why I like using the guides. And I also don't like missing content. I like doing all the side quests and stuff. And especially in the older Final Fantasy games, they, to me, are a little bit notorious for, if you don't do this specific event right in this moment in the game, you won't ever see it. So without a guide, it's kind of impossible to I mean, I shouldn't say impossible, but it's impossible usually to find all these moments and make sure you don't miss any of these story beats or any of these side quests or cool items or anything like that without doing multiple playthroughs. And when my backlog is so ginormous, I'm only giving these games one playthrough, and I'm not doing them again. So I'm sure a lot of you guys are gonna wonder how I organize my backlog, and as I'll show you on the screen here, I created what I called PS1 RPG bucket list in my Google spreadsheet, and I have it organized. Right now it's sorted by title. As you can see, it's pretty huge right now. I have it sorted by title. I have the time to beat on there, just to kind of help me. I basically went and I Googled how long, I used howlongtobeat.com, and I put every single game that I was wanting to play in there, and I took like the average time of like completionist and just like first time playthrough. I put them in between because realistically, if I'm using a walkthrough, usually it's going to be a little more towards like the completionist runtime rather than like the first time playthrough where you're going to miss a lot of stuff. But also, I'm not usually doing like a full completionist run where I'm trying to do every single thing in the game. So I kind of took the in-between there where it's like, I'm sure I'm going to be adding quite a bit of time by doing all the side quests and stuff like that, but I'm not going to be doing literally every single thing, like gathering every item, and some of the games get really crazy with their like completionist runs. So, and then I also like rated it with how badly I want to play the game on a scale of 1 to 10, just to kind of help me decide like the next game to play once I finish one. Obviously, I got to mark what's completed and what's not. Hopefully, you know, at one point here, we'll get a full green completed. And then also I'm marking out whether I own it or not. Also kind of helps me decide what I'm going to play next, because I like to own the physical copy, even if I plan on playing it in an emulator. Some of these RPGs are just so much better emulated. Final Fantasy IX, for an example, I played this completely emulated. It's actually one of my favorite JRPGs and one of my favorite PS1 games of all time. But truthfully, playing it on original hardware makes a game a lot worse than what it would be. Than if you played it in an emulator with like being able to speed the game up and like enhance the visuals and things like that, even using save states. But I still like to own the game. I don't like to like just emulate without owning it. It's just my personal preference. So usually I won't play anything that isn't in the owned section, unless I'm like really desperate to play it and it's like an expensive game. But now that we got that kind of stuff out of the way, let's go ahead and see. I'm going to sort this. But okay, here's my full list of what's completed and what I'm working on. So, as you can see, I've started 4 different RPGs and I haven't finished them yet. Yeah, shockingly, even Final Fantasy IX. I was playing the PS4 version of this, and honestly, I don't think it's like my ideal way to be playing it. I think that's why it's taken me so long to get through the game. It's fine though. I have moved my PS4 up into this game room here, which is usually where I do most of my playing. On the main TV, me and the girlfriend usually are watching TV and stuff like that, and I actually don't like to play my video games on like the main TV as much, just because I feel like I'm taking screen time away from her or other people to play my games. So anyways, yeah, so now that I have the PS4 up here, that's probably gonna be the next one I try to actually fully finish is Final Fantasy VII, if I get the itch to play some more of these. Tactics Ogre, actually, I have a copy of this now. See, I haven't updated this list in a little bit. But yeah, Tactics Ogre. So the reason how I had it I had started it without owning it is I actually was playing the Steam re-release of it, Tactics Ogre Reborn. I got like, geez, how many hours do I have in it? I could probably pull up my Steam right now and look. I wonder if I still have Steam open. Holy moly. Yeah, so I have like 133 hours in this game. Some of this time is like I fell asleep with it on the TV, so don't take that playtime as like super realistic. But yeah, I mean, I do have somewhere close to probably 70 or 80 hours, I would say. Maybe even a little bit more in this game. And I still haven't beaten it. honestly, Tactics Ogre Reborn for me, it is way too long. I loved it up to a certain point, and then I just haven't finished it because I had this one battle that I died on before I saved, and I lost like 2 or 3 battles worth of playtime. And some of these battles take, like, especially later on in the game, they take like 2 hours to get through. And I was trying to like rush through the battle that I got set back to like 2 or 3 times because I was really frustrated. And I'm like, how can I finish this quicker? And you just can't. You got to be slow. You got to take your time. You got to be smart about every single fight, especially towards like the end game where I'm at. And I just got so burnt out on it because of the circumstances and how I died. And I was just like, I'm going to put this down for a while. And I never really went back to it. That's another one where I'm really close to finishing it. But yeah, I just got to go back. Vandal Hearts 2. Actually really enjoying that one. That's another one that I think I'm gonna get pretty close to finishing pretty soon. These 3 are like probably the next 3 that I'm gonna finish. Wild Arms 2, I just got through the beginning part of it, and I'm playing the version on the PS5, so I'm probably gonna have to go back. But Chrono Cross I beat like a year ago. Final Fantasy 9 I beat a while ago. Tactics I beat a while ago. Played Parasite Eve years and years and years ago, and I re-beat it again recently. I played the second story R, not the second story original. You guys will have to let me know like what you think about playing the remakes and marking these original ones complete. I kind of feel like if I played the remake and, you know, I got the story beats and everything, and the game was like by and large similar or very close to the original, I feel like I got the original experience enough. But this one I was playing through the original a little bit, and it was quite a bit different than the remake, so you have to let me know if maybe I should actually just go back and play the original before marking it complete, or if playing the remake was good enough. The original Vandal Hearts I beat last year. Super excellent game. I loved Vandal Hearts. And Wild Arms is the last one I beat. But yeah, as you can see now, we have, man, the list is up to 51 or 50 games, I suppose, not 51. Let's see what is higher up on my want to play. All right, Suikoden 2 is a 10. Yeah, that makes sense. I actually really want to play Suikoden 2. Might wait for the remake on that, might not. The original Suikoden is a 9, but I am going to play this before 2 just because it's really cool that you can like transfer over some of your save data to, I think, unlock some characters in 2. Vagrant Story is pretty high. Xenogears is really high. I just bought a strategy guide for this, so it's like I'm actually really looking forward to playing this. What's holding me back is the 60-hour playtime for this one. It's a little daunting. Like, I could beat these 2 games basically in what the same amount of time it would take me to beat one. So I could see myself doing the Suikoden games before Xenogears, and then maybe between Vagrant Story and Xenogears, maybe starting Xenogears after that. But yeah, I don't have like a great plan for finishing a lot of these games or getting through them. I mean, I could sort it by time to beat here too. And sometimes I like doing it like this. Like Kudelka, I actually just bought a copy of this too. But yeah, 14-hour playtime, that's so appealing because I can like start to peck some of these off quicker. I mean, like Jade Cocoon's another one that's pretty quick. Rhapsody obviously is really quick, but kind of waiting for that one for like a rainy day where it's like, okay, I really got to get through some of the backlog. Let's do an easy one. I'm just kind of like saving it for one of those because I could beat something like this in a single night if I had the time. But yeah, I think that'll do it for today's video. I didn't have a whole lot more to say. This is just kind of like how I like to try to get through my backlog. I kind of wanted to give you guys a little insight into, you know, how this list I made and trying to get through all these JRPGs. I mean, right now I'm not even playing any JRPGs on the PS1. I've kind of burnt myself out on them a little bit. I mean, once I play 1 or 2 straight, I got to change it up and do something else. But I do plan on probably going back to one of these relatively soon, probably to finish Final Fantasy VII, truthfully. It's just one of those games where it's like, I feel like as a PS1 guy, I have to beat that game. I just can't believe it's one of the ones that it's like, how can you be the PS1 guy and love the PlayStation 1? You've never played Final Fantasy 7. That's like the PlayStation game. But yeah, anyways, sorry if anything of this was long-winded or rambly. I just like talking about this stuff. And this year, my progress, like, for me to get through 50 games, I'm gonna have to beat like 3 or 4 of these every year for like the next 5 years or 10 years. Otherwise, I'm going to be 70 trying to complete this list. So I need to get like a move on at some point and like really just start to grind these games out. But let me know what you guys think, or what your guys' methods are for backlogs, or what you like to try to do. Maybe in the future I might amalgamate this list and make like a mega list of like every game that I want to play. And honestly, there's just sometimes JRPGs for me are like, I gotta finish them. Some of the other games, like some racers and stuff, like, play a decent amount of it, get some enjoyment out of it. I don't really feel the need to necessarily finish those kinds of games. But JRPGs, I gotta finish them. I want to see how the whole story goes, and I feel like I can't have a fully educated opinion about a game, about a JRPG specifically, unless I've gone through the whole thing and played all the bosses and have like a complete picture of everything. But yeah. Once again, thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, or what your methods are. And hope to see you all in another video.